So Mark, you've probably been in situations where you've had tons of customers with lots of needs, and I'm sure you've had some times when there have been more needs or demands on your time than you've been able to handle, and they're all customers. How do you handle that?
Sure. I mean, that happens often in sales. But if you're following the process that we talked about, you're qualifying the customer as you're going through this initial process right from the very beginning. And through that qualification process, you should be able to determine basically the profitability and the probability of that account. And with that determination, at that point, you can begin prioritizing in those scenarios, who am I going to spend my time with, and who, unfortunately, am I going to have to not assist at this point in time.
Okay, so along those lines, sometimes we talk about the 80-20 rule. So the customers often that are the least profitable can often be the most demanding, right?
Correct.
So if you had one of those customers on the line, they're still a customer, but they're quite demanding. Can you share maybe how you might talk to them to get them off the phone so that you could go work with the high priority customer?
Well, typically they're demanding because they're asking you to do something and then do something else and then do something else. And one of the techniques that I was taught back as I went through some of the account management programs at AT&T is that you never do something on behalf of a customer without having them do something for you in return.
Oh.
So, for example, if a customer calls and says, "Oh, I just have this minor issue," but they're a demanding customer, can you get this technical documentation for me? And then you would say, "Sure. And by the way, I know that we helped you through this other scenario. Would you mind being a testimonial for me so that I can have another customer of mine contact you about that situation?" And then you gain a favor back, and you sort of negotiate it that way. And then often you'll find, as you start doing that, they'll start coming to you less and less frequently.
Right, because you're kind of training them that it's not just demand and get something fed back to them,
Right.
that every time they demand, it's going to require some work on their part too.
And I even have salespeople on my team today that they will start doing favors for the customer and more and more and more until it's to the point where it's taken up all their time, and I will sit them down and say, "And what have you gotten in return?" And the answer typically is nothing.
Interesting.